Jeff, the famous driver who's actually organising part of the organising committee for the event. But his son, Jeff Goddard Jr., who's now about 6'9" tall, is driving an absolutely legendary car. You'll see the name Tony Viana on it, and it is a proper Stanek Group N car, the original car that Tony Viana drove. And in fact, Jeff Goddard Sr. drove with Tony in one of the 9 hours. This young man, who is now working for BMW in America in the IT area, was about a little boy, and he used to play in this car in the backyard of their house. Jeff, it is so cool to see you here, and what a lovely story. You reunited with the car that you played with as a young man.
Yeah, and it's an absolute privilege. I mean, thanks to BMW for getting me out here. I mean, for me, the emotions of the weekend, just being here, being in this car. I mean, I remember it so clearly, as clear as day, getting home from school, jumping in the car, pretending to drive it, and now to be here, going up the hill. It's pretty special.
Amazing how, after so many years, that little boy pretending is now a young man really doing.
Thank you. I'm not that young anymore, but very much so. Just really having fun out here today. I'm privileged enough to be able to do some racing in the States, and to get out here and just be a part of this event. This event is so unique. I still feel the sense of camaraderie, the sense of togetherness, and what motorsport used to be like when I was a kid. You know, running around at Kalami and the Boma. It's just fantastic.
Now, Jeff, you part of your duties in North America revolve around you work for BMW, but there are a number of cars that are competing here today that are built in the Americas.
Exactly. I mean, what is pretty special for me is that I spent 3 years helping with the IT backbone infrastructure set up in Plant San Luis in Mexico, who now produces the M2. So to see that car, Rob Gearing's just absolutely wheeling it up the hill here. And then currently, I'm currently based in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And to see the XM, I mean, an absolute beast of a vehicle, an SUV running up the hill, running quicker than this race car. It's just an absolute sight to see. And there's a certain emotion behind that. And I have many colleagues and family and friends that are back in the US, and they're at least along for the journey here today, which is great.
But you're also involved in a number of other initiatives, one with kids with various learning disabilities and social things. Tell us a little bit about that, because I think it's absolutely wonderful how you bring motorsport in to help kids.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I have the privilege, when we moved to the US, my eldest daughter, Sienna, she was diagnosed, or at least tested, for dyslexia. We actually call it her superpower. And we decided to get her enrolled in a private school that focused on kids with learning disabilities or learning challenges, being dyslexia. And she went from not being able to read the start of the year to the end of the year just being an absolute ace. She now reads a book a week. And part of that program, part of that school, a gentleman that owns the school by the name of Dana Blackhurst, absolute salt of the earth, amazing human being. He's also a race car enthusiast, a petrol head, we would call it here. And I just said to him, look, whatever you're doing, I want to be involved in. And what he managed to do is to get kids to do more reading, more writing, do more math, and get them more motivated. He came up with a program called the ACE program. Essentially, it's automotive basics, so the history of automotive all the way to basic mechanical workmanship. And this elective subject essentially allows kids to, obviously, therefore, if they're motivated to read and write, they do more math. And part of that, or the combination of that whole program, is that they've got a race team. So we, luckily, thankfully for me, they have a BMW M2 race car. And I originally started as pit crew, and now I have the privilege of driving the car. And the program itself essentially gets these kids out to the track working on if they have social challenges in a social environment, if they have any of these challenges, that we work with them, and they're a part of the program, whether it's fueling or just being a flagger during our pit stops. It's a really special thing. And our last event was actually in Coda in Austin, Texas, end of last year. We had 3 girls down there with us, 3 students, and they had an absolute blast. It was really special.
Awesome. Jeff, thank you very much for chatting to us. Enjoy being reunited with your dad's car, Tony Vienna's car, the legendary 325 IS. Cheers. Jeff Goddard. Right, so let's go and talk to one of the BMW